what it is.
Chief Whip, Clark, these things are not working.
I know that that's not too much. You should take it.
I don't want this man to go. Because if they accuse him of magic, he will take.
I will take you now. Sorry, sir.
Rizal daga nazon sanatar tsoron na ce masa ya miyar. Okay. The Chief Whip. I think we can start. Distinguished colleagues, votes and proceedings. Votes and proceedings. Page 3071. Page 3072. 3073. 3074. 3075. 3076. 3077. 3078. 3079. 3080. Page 3081. 3082. 3083. 3084. 3085. 3086. 3087. 3088. 3089. 3090. Page 3091. 3092. 3093. 3094. 3095. 3096. 3097. 3098. 3099. 3100. Page 3101. 3102. 3103. 3104. 3105. 3106. 3107. 3108. 3109. 3110. Page 3111. 3112. 3113. 3114. 3115. 3116. 3117. 3118. 3120. Page 3121. 3122. 3123. 3124. 3125. 3126. 3127. 3128. 3129. 3130. Page 3131. 3132. 3133. 3134. 3135. 3136. 3137. 3138. 3139. 3140. Page 3141. 3142. 3143. 3144. 3145. 3146. 3147. 3148. 3149. 3150. Page 3151. 3152. 3153. 3154. 3155. 3156. 3157. 3158. 3159. 3160. Page 3161. 3162. 3163. 3164. 3165. 3166. 3167. 3168. 3169. 3170. Page 3171. 3172. 3173. 3174. 3175. 3176. 3177. 3178. 3179. 3180. Page 3181. 3182. 3183. 3184. 3185. 3186, 3187, 3187, 3188, 3189, 3190. Page 3191, 3192, 3193, 3194, 3195, 3196, 3197, 3198, 3199, 3200. Page 3201, 3202, 3203, 3204, 3205, 3206, 3207, 3208, 3209, 3210. Page 3211, 3212, 3213, 3214, 3215, 3216, 3217, 3218, 3219, 3220. Page 3221, 3222, 3223, 3224, 3225, 3226, 3227, 3228, 3229, 3230. Page 3231, 3232, 3233, 3234, 3235, 3236, 3237, 3238, 3239, 3240. Page 3241, 3242, 3243, 3244, 3245, 3246, 3247, 3248, 3249, 3250. Page 3251, 3252, 3253, 3254, 3255, 3256, 3257, 3258, 3259, 3260. Pages 3261, 3262, 3263, 3264, 3265, 3266, 3267, 3268, 3269, 3270. Pages 3271, 3272, 3273, 3274, 3275, 3276, 3277, 3278, 3279, 3280. Page 3281, 3282, 3283. Distinguished Senator Bello Mandia, Katsina South.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Bello Mandia, I represent Katsina South. I rise to move that the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 1st March 2022 be approved. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Clifford Odia.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, my very dear colleague. I'm Senator Clifford Odia, represent Edo Central Senatorial District. I rise to second the motion that the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 1st March 2022 be approved. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 1st March 2022 be approved, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 1st March 2022 is hereby approved. Thank you. Okay. Announcement. Letter from Senator Inaya Harcourt Abaribe, the minority leader. The Senate President, notice of interactive meeting. His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, Wazir in Adamawa, will meet with the PDP Senate caucus as follows. Date, Wednesday, 2nd March 2022. Time, 7 p.m. Venue, House 5A, 7 Ghana Street, Maitama. All members are expected to be available and on time. Signed, Senator A. Abaribe, minority leader. Thank you. Petitions. Petition. Senator George Thompson Sekibo.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, Senator George Thompson Sekibo, Rivers East. Mr. President, I have a petition from OHA community in Rivers State, where a company by name Saplat Energy PLC is commencing oil drilling works. They appear in the area as a support to the community, and all effort to find out from them what they are doing exactly has not gained any fruit. They want the city to intervene and commit Surplus Energy Limited officials to talk with them because of the environmental concern of what they are doing. So, Mr. President, if you allow me, I will lay the petition on the table. Mr. President, I finished talking.
So is the petitioner seeking any judicial remedy? You may lay the petition, please. The petition is referred to the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions to report back within 4 weeks. Petitions, Senator Patrick Ayo Akin-Elure.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate colleagues, as usual, Mr. President, presentation of petition not laid but referred to the Committee on Ethics from the Office of the President of the Senate. Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions, in line with Order 41.1 and 3, which is to present to the Senate some petition yet to be laid from the Office of the President of the Senate in order to officially place the petition in the public domain to the floor of the Senate and for the votes and proceeding to capture the approval for referral. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, please find below a summary of petition received. 1. Sergeant Wilfred Owabrike against the Nigerian Army. Subject matter: personal appeal for redress on wrongful dismissal from Nigerian Army. 2. Richard Ogenehoro Martins against Honorable Minister, Federal Minister of Works and Housing, the Permanent Secretary and the Director of Human Resources of the Ministry. Complaints of conspiracy, fraudulent activities, threat to life through false accusation, and undue harassment and intimidation against my employment or career by the Honorable Minister, Federal Minister of Works and Housing, Abuja, Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, the Permanent Secretary, Alhaji Babangida Hussaini, and Director of Human Resources, Alhaji Omar Utono. 3. Prince C.A.C. Joseph, again University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, appeal for justice and review of untimely retirement. Number 4, Onda Julius Agbo, against Barra Finance and Investment Limited, complaints of conspiracy, breach of trust, fraud, and cheating against Barra Finance and Investment Limited. Finally, Mr. President, Comrade Khalid Bala against Nigeria Security Civil Defense Corps. The need for retirement of Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps officers that enjoyed accelerated promotion based on their year of graduation from their respective school. A case study of DCG Mohammed Lawa Haruna. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, to the best of my knowledge, none of the above petitions is seeking judicial remedy. I therefore move, Mr. President, to seek the indulgence of the Senate to lay the above petition before the Senate for official referral to the committee for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. President.
Is any of the petitioners seeking any judicial remedy?
No.
You may lay the petitions, please. The petitions are referred to the Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions report back within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the first business of the day is the presentation of a House Bill standing in my name on the Federal College of Fisheries and Aquaculture Establishment Bill 2022. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President.
Please, Senator Susan, that place is choked up, please. Use your masks. Please, distinguished colleagues, let's go back to our seats. Senator Abaribe, Minority Leader. You are not yet the governor now. Come back to your seat as a minority leader. Or you are consulting? Okay. The clerk.
Mr. President, distinguished senators.
Sorry, Senator Sam.
Mr. President, you see that Senator Sanya has constituted another chambers behind there.
No campaign inside the chambers, please. The campaign team should disband. The Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal College of Fisheries and Aquaculture Establishment Bill 2022, HB 557, first reading.
Federal College of Fisheries and Aquaculture Establishment Bill 2022, HB 557, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, The second business of the day is the presentation of a bill stating the name of the distinguished Senator Akon Eyakin on the Sickle Cell Disease Research and Treatment Center Bill 2022. Mr. President, we wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Sickle Cell Disease Research and Treatment Center Bill 2022, SB 940, first reading.
Sickle Cell Disease Research and Treatment Center Bill 2022, SB 940, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Clifford Odia on the National Automotive Design and Development Council Act No. 83, 2014, Amendment Bill 2022. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Automotive Design and Development Council Act number 83, 2014, Amendment Bill 2022, SB 944, first reading.
National Automotive Design and Development Council Act number 83, 2014, Amendment Bill 2022, SB 944, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Mohammed Nagi on the Federal University of Technology Act, Cap F23, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, Amendment Bill 2022. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal University of Technology Act, Cap F23, Law of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, Amendment Bill 2022, SB 948, first reading.
Federal University of Technology Act Cap F23, LFN 2004, Amendment Bill 2022, SB 948, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Yakubu Oseni on the Federal Medical Center Okene, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2022. Mr. President, we wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Medical Center Okene, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2022, SB 949, first reading.
Federal Medical Center Okene, Kogi State Establishment Bill 2022, SB 949, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Distinguished senators will recall that the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, was read yesterday, Tuesday, 1st March 2022. Mr. President, with your permission, I move that the bill be read the second time.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Lead debate on the 2022 Appropriation Act Amendment Bill 2022. Mr. President, my highly esteemed and respected colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on this very important bill, which seeks to amend the 2022 Appropriation Act in the sum of 106 161,499,052 naira for capital expenditure, and 43,870,532,044 naira and 44 naira for recurrent expenditures without increasing the budget deficit. The bill was read the first time in this respected chamber on Tuesday, 1st March 2022. The key highlights of the request for amendments made by the executive arm of government include the following. Number one, funding to cushion the impact of the recent suspension of the petroleum motor spirit subsidy. Number two, addressing the adverse implications and some changes made in the 2022 Appropriation Act that could have impact for the successful implementation of the budget. Number three, restoring the provisions made for various key capital projects in the 2022 budget proposal to ensure that critical ongoing projects that are cardinal to this administration are implemented, and to ensure that those nearing completion do not suffer setback due to reduced funding. Number four, reinstating the 25.81 billion cut from the provision for the power sector reform program in order to meet the federal government's commitment under the financing plan agreed with the World Bank. Number five, reinstating the four capital projects totaling 1.42 billion in the executive proposal for the Ministry of Water Resources. Number six, restoring the 3 billion cut from the provisions made for payment of mostly long outstanding local contracted debts and other liabilities as part of a strategy to reflate the economy and spur growth. Number seven, transferring the National Assembly's expenditure totaling 16.59 billion that is located in the service-wide board to the National Assembly's statutory transfer provision. Number eight, reinstating the 22 billion cut from the provision for the sinking fund to retire mature loans to ensure that government can meet its obligations under the already issued bonds as and when they mature. Number nine, reinstating the cuts made from provisions for the recurrent spending of Nigeria's foreign missions. Number 11, restoring the reductions in provisions for allowances made to personnel of the Nigerian Navy and police formation and command. And finally, removing all capital projects that are replicated in the 2022 Appropriation Act. That is 139 out of the 254 such projects totaling 3.24 billion that have been identified to be deleted from the budget. The request of the executive arm of government also included the removal of significant and non-mandate projects that were introduced in the budget of the Ministry of Transportation, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation. There are several other projects that have been included by the National Assembly in the budgets of agencies that are outside their mandate areas. The Ministry of Finance, Budget, and National Planning have been mandated to work with our relevant committees to comprehensively identify and realign all such misplaced projects. Equally, the amendment sought by the executive seeks to repeal Clause 10 of the 2022 Appropriation Act, which stipulates that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit are authorized to charge and defray all money standing in the credit of unit as revenue, penalties, or sanctions at 10% for technical setup and operational costs at the unit in this financial year. This clause is in conflict with the Act establishing these agencies, as well as some other laws and financial regulations of the government. These agencies are neither revenue generating agencies nor regulatory bodies that generate revenue or charge penalty fees. They are fully funded personnel, overhead, and capital by the federal government through budgetary provisions. The Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, as well as the Finance Act 2021, require that these agencies remit fully any recovered funds to the Consolidated Revenue Fund, as it will spark clamors for similar treatment by other anti-corruption agencies. Similarly, Clause 11 would stipulate that, notwithstanding the provisions of any other law in force, Nigerian embassies and missions are authorized to spend funds allocated to them under the capital components without having to seek approval of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Is also to be repealed for its inconsistency with the extant financial regulations and public procurement acts. Mr. President, my highly esteemed colleagues, given the urgency of these amendments, I urge my colleagues to support this bill for the second reading. This is to enable the Committee on Appropriation to carefully consider and address the issues raised by the executive arm of government in consultation with the relevant committees of the Senate. I so submit. I thank you and God bless you.
Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, Governor of East. Mr. President, I rise to support this bill sponsored by the majority leader in order for us to redress some of the issues raised in the letter of the President read to us at the beginning of the week. But in so doing, Mr. President, I would also like to point out that maybe we need to look at the consequences of a possible clash with the petroleum industry bill as it relates to the introduction of a budgetary amount for PMS subsidy. This is because of the fact that the Minister of State had said last year that in the bill, all petroleum products will be subject to market forces. So maybe we need to look at the implication of that. But Mr. President, I absolutely lend my support to this amendment proposal submitted by the majority leader. Thank you very much.
Senator Adela Solomon Olamileko.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleague Adeola Solomon Olamileko on Lagos West. Mr. President, having listened to the presentation of the leader of the Senate, I want to say that what was contained in the President's letter to the Senate is clear. Areas of emphasis to the tune of the 106 billion and 43 billion is clearly stated. You mentioned about the legacy project and critical sector, which he felt that there is need for us to look into, which include power, transportation, water resources, and so on and so forth. And in the recurrent expenditure, the sinking fund, the police formations allowances, and also the foreign services. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, also the duplication of about 139 billion emphasis of different projects should also be looked into. I believe this is straightforward and is in no way in contrast to what was passed by the National Assembly. All we need to do is, all these areas he has emphasized on, we will look into it one after the other and give our own critical analysis as to all of these that he has pointed out in the document that is forwarded to the National Assembly and do justice to it at the appropriation and at the committee level. I so submit, Mr. President.
Senator Adigian.
Thank you, Mr. President. I remain Senator Adigian. I'm from Plateau North. I want to bring the attention of the Senate, Mr. President, to a particular provision in the presentation of the Senate leader, which talks about removing all capital projects that are replicated in the 2022 Appropriation Act 139 out of the 254 such projects totaling 3.24 billion have been identified. And the question will be, Mr. President, that these projects are said to have been replicated. It means they were duplicated and repeated. The question will be, at what point were these projects replicated and by who? And the next thing is, we need to know what are those 254 projects, one after the other. All the 252 projects should be listed for this Senate to understand and know. And like I said, at what point were they replicated and by who? The second area that I want to highlight is the statement where the leader said there are several other projects that have been included by the National Assembly in the budgets of agencies that are outside their mandate areas. To me, this is self-indicting. And it took Mr. President to bring this to...
Maybe I should guide you. Because for you to say it's self-indicting, who is indicting who? Is the leader indicting himself or indicting the Senate? Just hold on a bit, please, before you go the wrong direction. When we have our constituency projects, members of the National Assembly normally look for agencies that can easily do these jobs for them. And sometimes the executive complains that some agencies don't have the mandate. But we know that some of these agencies have the capacity and they execute our projects better. I'm not trying to justify this, but I'm trying to say what the leader said is what the executive raised. So it's not like self-indicting. We're not self-indicting ourselves here. So you may round up just to guide you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm well guided, and that explanation should have been in the statement that the leader presented to us, Mr. President, and I'm therefore well guided by your explanation. And on this note, I will limit myself to the 254 projects, Mr. President, that we need to know those projects, and then the issue of the replication, at what point and by who. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, I will suggest that we go for the second reading of this bill, and then the Committee on Appropriations looks into these issues. Where it is necessary, the committees that would be affected should be consulted. Where it is not necessary, you don't. But I want to state categorically clear here that naturally there will be new projects in the budget, because these are projects of members of the National Assembly. They were not there at the inception. And all of us here know that we have our constituency projects. And therefore, there will be additional projects in the final budget, naturally. I think the Committee on Appropriations should look into this matter very, very carefully to ensure that there is a balance at the end of the day, that areas that require attention, especially where we have to have either matching grants or some kind of, what do you call the other thing? The counterpart funding, that we maintain those. So I think you need to work very, very carefully. Senator Suswa.
Mr. President, you concluded, but I just want to also guide the appropriation committee when they are considering it. You will recall that while we're debating the general principle of the 2022 budget, I raised the issue of the tax expenditure, Mr. President. Tax expenditure are waivers that are given to individuals or companies. Mr. President, if we look at the tax expenditure in 2022, is about 1 trillion. And it is totally unnecessary. So it is not just what the President has sent here. Let us consider those areas that can help them save money, because we might decide to step down on those tax expenditure. For instance, the individuals that are giving tax expenditure of about 600 billion. Let us know, arrest it. Let us know those people. And then how we can save monies from this tax expenditure to defray even the deficit and attend to some of the issues that the President has raised. So let the appropriation committee, in considering it, look at those tax expenditure. It's very important, Mr. President.
Senator Minority Whip.
Thank you. I rise to support the amendment of this bill, but however, supporting it, I know that time is not on their side and that we immediately ask them to work on it, because the 2021 Appropriation Act will expire by the end of this month, so they need to really work on this. But however, the clause 10 and clause 11, I believe that they should look at these clauses very seriously with a view to ensuring that they are either expunged or something, because if you look at the BPP Act and the PPA Act, that's the Procurement Act, you will see that they are in direct conflict with them, except we amend those laws. We cannot say that ministries or agencies should go and spend their own money the way they want, because in those procurement acts there are thresholds that agencies, departments, and ministries are supposed to carry out their expenditure. So completely this is not in tandem with these laws that we have passed. So they need to look at that and make such amendments. But however, I do support this bill so that we can have the 2022 Appropriation Act in place to be able to be implemented and implementable. Thank you.
Those in favor of this bill will now read the second time say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate. Point of order. Clerk of the Senate. After the Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to amend the 2022 Appropriation Act to provide for a total sum of 161,169,499,052 naira only for capital expenditure and 43,870,592,044 naira only for recurrent expenditures and for other matters connected therewith. 2022 SB 950, second reading.
A bill for an act to amend the 2022 Appropriation Act to provide for a total sum of 161,161,499,052 naira only for capital expenditures and 43,870,592,044 naira only for recurrent expenditures and for other matters connected there with 2022 second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Appropriation to report back within 1 week. Distinguished Senator Yaro, Binos Yaro Dedak, Adamawa South, point of order.
Thank you, Mr. President. Binos Dade Yaro, Adamawa South. Mr. President, my point of order would have been valid if it had been taken before you put the matter to vote and rule on it.
by not allowing me to cite my point of order. You have frustrated the issue I wanted to bring to the notice of the Senate. But notwithstanding, Mr. President, I am standing on Order 77, subsection 4, and I read, a printed copy of the bill shall as soon as possible be sent to every senator on first reading. The first reading was taken yesterday. I'm not sure other senators have received copies of the bill, but I definitely did not receive a copy, and I was here yesterday. And I also stand on Order 79, subsection 2. On the second reading of a bill, an amendment may be proposed without notice to the question. So, Mr. President, how can we amend the bill if we have not?
Distinguished Senator Binos Yarododa, you raise an issue that you have not received. Then I think we should listen to those who should have the jurisdiction to do that. And then we attend to your issue. Don't go ahead and comment on something that is not definite yet. Is it the leader or the Committee on Business and Rules or the Appropriations? I know the letter, there was a letter, not a bill, seeking for the amendment. So, Chairman, Leader of the Senate, please.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, this particular issue arose from the letter sent by Mr. President. This letter, the totality of this letter was contained in our votes and proceedings. So I hope all senators could have read the copies of votes and proceedings. Now, since the information was not contained in a substantive bill, there was no substantive bill as such, it was a letter. Now, that letter is requesting us to look into the totality of the appropriation bill, setting out areas that we need or the executive needs to be looked at. Now, since it's a bill, it has now become our responsibility to make a presentation here, because it is seeking an amendment to an act. So our presentation here, we took note of the content of that letter and then crafted the entire thing into the form of an amendment act, which now is going to the Appropriations Committee, which in consultation with other committees will look into the observations that have been made by Mr. President, so that the relevant sections of the act would be looked into, and then appropriate action, will be taken for presentation of the areas in the act that require amendment. So the presentation of the President did not come in the form of a substantive bill, but observations that have been made in several sections of the act. Now we went and looked at those observations. When you look into my presentation, what I said was that, these are the areas that the executive complained about. And I listed them from 1 to 11. From 1 to 11. And I did a presentation, not whether I support, it's not a way that I support their contention, no. I just listed those areas that they are requesting Senate to intervene. So in doing this, we are alerting the Appropriation Committee to now look into this, into the act, to the substantive act, and then address those areas, and then bring back an amendment to ask for consideration.
Thank you, Leader. Distinguished Senator Binos Yarododa, I'm sure this is something that other senators may also benefit from, the issue you raised. And I believe that the Committee on Appropriations will do the needful, get all the relevant and necessary documents, and the Committee on Appropriations is chairman and I think some 20-something or 30 senators on the committee. So we expect our committee, and I pray you are a member of the Committee on Appropriations. Just like I'm not, you are also, okay. So some of us are out of it. But we should trust that our colleagues who are on the committee will do a thorough job and a very good job on the rest of us. And I didn't try anything to frustrate you. You used the word frustrate. I don't think it's appropriate. Thank you. Anyway, your point of order is sustained. Thank you very much. So the Committee on Appropriations, you have 1 week. You have 1 week to work on the amendment and ensure that you bring back the document to us, because the longer it stays, Chairman Appropriations, please pay attention. The longer it stays in the National Assembly, the more delay we may cause for the implementation of the 2022 appropriation bill. And we need the implementation of this 2022 appropriation budget better than anybody else, I think. So we should work hard and fast enough to get it back in 1 week. And this is also an opportunity for me to speak to the issue of the executive sending request for the amendment of the Petroleum Industry Act to extend the provision of the fuel subsidy, which is also requested in the amendment, because the act itself says something else, that there will be no subsidy again. But if we are approving for subsidy, then it means we have to extend the period in which government will provide subsidy up to the point that this subsidy that will approve 2.557 trillion will last. So there is need for the executive to come up with request for amendment, or our committee, gas and oil related committee, should work with the executive side of government to get that sorted out as quickly as possible, so that what we do is appropriate and is lawful and legal. Thank you very much. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the second order of the day is the second reading of the Federal College of Education Special Afon Kwara State Establishment, etc. Bill 2022. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this distinguished chamber on Wednesday, 27th November 2019. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Ibrahim Yahaya Oloregbe to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Let me deal with this, please. Distinguished Senator Yahaya Oloregbe.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Ibrahim Yahaya Oloregbe. I represent Kwara Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to humbly lead the debate on grant for other two levels of education. However, it is disturbing, Mr. President and colleagues, to state that the quality of teachers to provide this kind of education is deteriorating.
A shortfall of teachers is one of the significant challenges of primary education in Kwara State and in Nigeria in general. The Punch newspaper recently reported that 28 states in Nigeria had not employed teachers in primary schools since 2015. The National Policy on Education provides that for effective learning, the teacher-pupil ratio should be 1 to 25. It is disheartening to state that Nigeria will need at least 250,000 additional teachers to achieve this recommended ratio, because in some rural communities, there are as low as 3 teachers in a whole school. But unfortunately, the quality of teachers required is not available in the labor market. It is observed, Mr. President, with concern that the majority of teachers in primary schools are not trained to be teachers. Instead, they are recruited to do the job because of shortage of qualified teachers. With this shortfall of teachers, there is high stress on the few qualified academic staff available. The skilled teachers are faced with the challenge of handling several classrooms management activities. Some go as far as providing support for partially trained and less experienced teachers assigned to them. This has led to a lower standard of education in my state, Kwara, and indeed in Nigeria. Currently, Nigeria, with over 200 million people, has 27 federal college of education in Nigeria, located across 26 states, namely Oyo, Ondo, Ogun, Kogi, Katsina, Delta, Rivers, Enugu, Gombe, Niger, Kaduna, Plateau, Imo, Adamawa, Yobe, Zamfara, Lagos, Cross River, Anambra, Kano, Bauchi, Edo, Osun, Benue, Ebonyi, and Sokoto State. Sadly, none is located in Kwara State, despite earnest demand for the training of qualified primary teachers in the state. This gap calls for the need to establish more federal education in Nigeria to enable the government to train professional teachers to provide the critical teaching needs in primary school in Nigeria to ensure a better quality of education for our children. Against this background, Mr. President, this bill is being proposed to establish the Federal College of Education Fund, Kwara State, and other matters. This legislative proposal will go a long way in addressing the acute shortage of qualified teachers in primary school in Nigeria. The objectives of the bill include to establish federal college education in Afan, Kwara State, and for other matters, address the acute shortage of qualified teachers in primary school in Nigeria, meet the requirement of national policy on education of teacher-pupil ratio of 1.25. The summary of the bill, Mr. President, is that the bill has 28 clauses divided into 5 parts. Part 1 provides for the establishment, constitution, and functions of the Federal College of Education Fund. Part 2 is dedicated to the general fund, transfer of property, etc. to the college, and condition of service of employee. Part 3 and 4 are designed for the staff and status of the college. Part 4 and 5 are provided for the supervision, discipline, miscellaneous, and general matters. Mr. President, my prayer and my reduced colleague is to humbly urge you to support this legislative proposal for second reading and subsequent passage. Mr. President, in compliance with our Order 76/3 standing order of the Senate 2022 as amended, with respect to the procedure on bills, a compendium is hereby provided. Thank you, Mr. President, and distinguished colleague, for your attention. I so submit, Mr. President.
Any comments? Distinguished Senator B.K. Amos, Gombe South.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I am Senator B.K. Amos, and I represent the people of Gombe South. I rise to support the bill heavily moved by my colleague, distinguished Senator Olorukwe, for the establishment of the Federal College of Education, special in Afon, Kwara State. So we are living in a global village, and if you look at it everywhere in the world, if you need development, then there's a high premium placed on quality education. We need quality education in this part of the world, and the need to establish the Federal College of Education in Afon, I think, is a welcome development. And based on that, I'm calling on my colleagues and every other person who is here to support the second reading of this bill. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal College of Education, Special, Afon, Kwara State, and for other matters connected therewith, 2022, SB 226, second reading.
A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal College of Education Special, Afon, Kwara State, and for other matters connected there with 2022 second reading taken. And the bill is referred to the Committee on Tertiary Education and TED Fund to report back within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is the second reading of Alban Ikoku Federal University of Education Establishment Bill 2022. The distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 9th February 2022. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Ezenwa Onyeuchi to move the motion for the bill to be read the second time.
Distinguished Senator Ezenwa Francis Onyeuchi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, my name is Ezenwa Onyeuchi, and I represent Imo East Senatorial District. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, permit me to lead the debate on this very important bill titled Alban Ikoku Federal University of Education, Owerri Establishment Bill 2022. This bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on the 9th of February 2022. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, this bill seeks to upgrade Alban Ikoku Federal College of Education, Owerri, to Alban Ikoku Federal University of Education, Owerri. The bill has laid out detailed structure and systems for its establishment, management, operations, and funding. The objects of the Alban Ikoku Federal University of Education Establishment Bill is to encourage the advancement of learning and to hold out to all persons without distinction of race, creed, sex, and political conviction, to develop and offer academic and professional programs leading to the award of certificates, first degree, postgraduate degree, diploma, and higher degrees, with emphasis on planning, development, and adaptive skills in education, technology, applied science, agriculture, commerce, arts, social science, humanities, management, and allied professional disciplines. To produce socially mature educational men and women with capabilities to understand the educational needs of Nigeria as a nation, exploit existing educational needs of Nigeria as a nation, to act as agents and catalysts for effective educational system through postgraduate training, research, innovation for effective economic utilization and conservation of the country's human resources. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, the need to establish Alban Ikoku Federal University of Education, Owerri, whose sole objective will be to provide training for the development of teacher education in the country, cannot be overemphasized. Over the years, there has been sustained clamor for the upgrade of Alban Ikoku Federal College of Education to a full-fledged degree awarding institution. The quest for the upgrade of the Federal College of Education has been premised on certain factors, such as the availability of requisite facilities, the presence of qualified personnel, and its status as the oldest teacher training college in Nigeria. The establishment of Alban in 1963, just 3 years after Nigeria's independence, was a milestone in the annals of education in Nigeria, especially in the Southeast. As an institution solely disposed to research, teaching, and training of teachers for both the intermediate and higher education sectors, the college has in the past 50 years contributed to the production of quality teachers in the country. At present, Alban Ikoku Federal College of Education, Owerri, is located in Owerri, the capital of Imo State. The college is styled Primus Inter Pares, first among equals in colleges of education in Nigeria because of its outstanding impact in the teacher education sector. It is envisioned as a modern federal university of education and a center of excellence in research. The institution awards National Certificate of Education, NCE, the Professional Diploma in Education, BPDE, and in affiliation with the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, the Bachelor of Education. Notably, Alvan is part of the 21 federal colleges of education that have been awarding degree programs for the last 3 decades under the close supervision of the different universities they are affiliated to. Recall that in May 2015, the Federal Executive Council presided over by President Goodluck Jonathan approved the upgrade of 4 federal colleges of education around the country to university status. One of those colleges was the Alvan Ikoku Federal College of Education, Owerri. The purpose of this upgrade was to ensure quality teacher education in the country. In the case of Alvan, this is yet to be done. Paying close attention to the importance of education and the need to develop more manpower to fill the gap in the sector, it will be progressive to establish a university of education whose aim will be to identify the educational needs of the society with a view to finding solutions to them within the context of our overall national development. While it may be acknowledged that Alvan has played its role to some extent, there is still doubt that the quality of students being turned out by colleges of education cannot be compared to those of the universities. Alvan Ikoku College of Education has a long history of producing high-quality teachers. However, this curriculum and certification has limited their capacity to do so. Alvan is equipped and ready to award degrees other than the basic NCE to its students. The institution has modern and well-built structures, large classrooms, equipped and functional laboratories, renovated hostels, and expanded staff strength. To a large extent, Alvan as a federal college has been able to generate funds on its own, which will be further sustained if it is upgraded to a university. Alvan Ikoku Federal College of Education, by all standards, is prepared to take on the status of a university of education, and the impact of this upgrade is promising, looking at the antecedents of the schools as enumerated above. This bill will improve the quality of educational training received by teachers in Nigeria, and also improve the quality of education overall. It is also important to note that upgrading the College of Education to a university will provide employment and accelerate socio-economic development. Once again, I want to stress that there is no financial implication or burden on the part of government with regards to the bill, as it simply proposes the upgrade of Alvan from a Federal College of Education to a Federal University of Education. The institution already has in existence modern and well-built structures, classrooms, equipped functional laboratories, and the institution is prepared and ready to take on the status of a university. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the need and importance of this upgrade has been explicitly enumerated above. I therefore urge you to support the second reading of this bill and this legislative proposal. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much. Any more contributions? Any more contributions? Okay. Distinguished Senator Ibrahim Shekaro, Kano Central, Sadana Kano.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, in supporting this motion, I wish to say that this is a timely proposal. Mr. President, I had the privilege of being the Minister of Education then in 2015. It was indeed myself that presented the memo to the then Federal Executive Council that approved, among other colleges, that Federal College of Education Alvin Ikoku be upgraded to a University of Education. The others were FCE Kano, FCE Zaria, and Adeyemi College of Education, Akure. Mr. President, even among the four, Alvin Ikoku College of Education stood out among the four. As at that time, Alvin Ikoku, by our findings, 7 years ago, had spent more than 3 decades, as mentioned by the mover of the motion, that it had been producing graduates, though affiliated to another university. And as at that time, Mr. President, Alvin Ikoku had over 350 PhD holders as lecturers in that college. And even at that time, there wasn't any cost. The only thing that needs to be added is the appointment of a vice chancellor. But Alvin Ikoku has all the structures. All that needs to be done is to process the legal framework to establish it as a University of Education. And furthermore, Mr. President, we need many more of universities of education so that we produce more and more quality teachers for our primary and post-primary institutions. This will raise the standard and the performance and the quality of our education in our schools. As we always say, there is no education system that can grow higher than the quality of its teachers. And by this, the quality will be increased, the number will also be increased in terms of getting more and more graduates to handle both primary and post-primary institutions. With this, Mr. President, I support the motion that Federal College of Education, Alvin Ikoku, be upgraded to University of Education. I so second, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Francis Ibezim.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. This bill would actually enhance the opportunity of making sure that we train the teachers that we need both for foundational education and for tertiary institutions. It will close the gap that is existent in our educational system right now. Alvin Ikoku College of Education is the oldest college of education in this country and has done very well as a college of education. Upgrading it into the status of a university will encourage more research development in the area of the style of teaching, pedagogy, and will enhance the opportunities we need in helping in building up the education system of the country. So I ask all distinguished senators to support this bill. Thank you very much.
Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Alvin Ikoku Federal University of Education and for other matters connected therewith, 2022, SB 918, second reading.
A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Alvin Ikoku Federal University of Education and for other matters connected therewith, 2022 second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Tertiary Education and Third Fund to report back within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fourth order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Third Fund on the FCT University of Science and Technology Abaji Establishment Bill 2022. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Wednesday, 6 October 2021. Mr. President, we wish to invite the single Senator Ahmed Babakaita, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report. In his absence, I would like for the chairman to invite the single Senator, Professor. No, Sunday Ono.
Thank you very much. Distinguished Senator Professor Sunday Ono.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, we have two bills, or two reports rather. The first is on the University of Science and Technology Abaji, Establishment Bill 2002, SB 230. And the second is on the Federal University of Environmental Technology, Kuruma, Sakpewa, Tai, Ogoni, River State. Mr. President, if you will permit, we would like to take the two bills concurrently, please.
You may go ahead, please. No, we need to have to put the questions first now. I thought you move the motions first. No, I don't think so. You should read what is there. And each one needs to be seconded.
Mr. President.
It needs to be seconded.
Yes, now, let me move. I move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the FCT University of Science and Technology Abaji Establishment Bill 2022. I also move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the Federal University of Environmental Technology, Kuruma, Sakpewa, Tai, Ogoni, River State. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Abomoro.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Abomoro, Benue South. I rise to second the motion that the report on the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund be accepted and considered, ably moved by my colleague, Professor Sandy Ono, Senator. Thank you, Mr. President.
Did you move all the two? Okay, you seconded for all the two. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive the two reports, do receive and consider the two reports of our Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the FCT University of Science and Technology Abaji Establishment Bill and on the Federal University of Environmental Technology, Koroma, Sakpewa, Tai, Ogoni, River State Establishment Bill 2022. Say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Chairman, you may read the reports, please. The two reports. Please, you may present the two reports now.
I'll take the findings, Mr. President. Establishment of the Federal Capital Technology University of Science and Technology, Apache. Findings. To achieve both the generic and specific objectives of the bill, the committee has considered the views expressed by stakeholders at the public hearing and subsequently makes the following observations. That the stakeholders at the public hearing unanimously subscribe to the content of the draft bill and unequivocally supported the passage of the bill for the establishment of the Federal Capital Territory University of Science and Technology, Apache, by the National Assembly. That the passage of the bill for the establishment of the Federal Capital Territory University of Science and Technology, Apache, has potentials of adding enormous value for the promotion of innovations in science and technology. Again, it has tremendous overall benefits for the diverse and multicultural peoples of the FCT and Apache host communities in particular. That the establishment of the Federal Capital Territory University of Science and Technology, Apache, in the FCT will no doubt provide the required manpower needs of Nigerians in the area of science and technological advancement of the nation. Third, that the knowledge and skills that will be acquired by graduates from the envisaged FCT University of Science and Technology, Apache, will go a long way in expanding and deepening the horizon of the prospective students with a view to availing them the much needed skills that will transform our society positively. Recommendation, Mr. President. The Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund, having carefully considered same, hereby recommends as follows. That the Senate do consider and pass the bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal Capital Territory University of Science and Technology, Apache, and for other matters connected therewith 2022 SB 230 as recommended. In conclusion, I want to use this opportunity to thank the President of the Senate and distinguished colleagues for the opportunity to serve in this capacity and to humbly request the Senate to pass this bill. I so move, Mr. President.
Any comments? Leader? Oh, you haven't finished? Okay, finish the second one.
Establishment of Federal University of Environmental Technology, Sakpenwa, Kuruma, Tai, Ogoni River State. From the general feelings and views expressed by the stakeholders at the public hearing and subsequent analysis of both oral and written presentations of memoranda, the committee hereby makes the following observations. The stakeholders, one, that the stakeholders at the public hearing unanimously subscribed to the content of the draft bill and unequivocally supported the passage of the bill by the National Assembly for the establishment of the Federal University of Environmental Technology, Sakpenwa, Kuruma, Tai, Ogoni River State, as this will provide numerous opportunities for professional certifications in environmental technology by offering relevant programs while opening new frontiers for career environmentalists and consultants, etc. Establishment of the university would assure the Ogoni people in particular and Nigerians at large that the government is serious about the clean and sustainable harvest of our natural resources. The establishment of the university would definitely promote environmental research, enhance regulations, and promote ecological science such as toxicology, soil science, environmental monitoring and analysis, among other benefits. Recommendation, the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund, having carefully considered same, hereby recommends as follows. That the Senate do consider and pass the bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal University of Environmental Technology, Sakpenwa, Kuruma, Tai, Ogoni River State, and for other matters connected therewith, Bill 2022 as recommended. Conclusion. In conclusion, I wish to use this opportunity to thank the President of the Senate and distinguished colleagues for the opportunity to serve in this capacity and to humbly request the Senate to pass this bill. I so move, Mr. President.
Comments? Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My comment will be that first we're grateful and happy that the university for the FCT in Abadi is being passed into law by the grace of God Almighty and with the kind indulgence of this distinguished Senate. However, Mr. President, the implementers and the Federal Capital Territory Administration had brought about a change in the name, and they had requested and had written letters to both the National University Commission, the committee, and to myself who sponsored the bill, that if it is possible that they will propose that it should be called the FCT University Abagi, that's the Federal Capital Territory University in Abagi. This is the only proposal, and since we are going ahead to make this law for the good governance of the university and for the people of the FCT, I thought that to let you know, and so that when we are passing to law, instead of bringing an amendment bill later, we can just make corrections as we move. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, distinguished Senator Philip Aduda. I think we can look into that when we consider the bill clause by clause for a possible change of the long title. Distinguished Senator George Thompson Sekibo.
Mr. President of the Senate and my distinguished colleagues, I want to refer you to Order 84, from 2, then 5 down. No amendment shall be moved which is inconsistent with any clause already agreed upon or any decision already come to by the committee, and the chairman may at any time during the discussion of a proposed amendment withdraw it from the consideration of the committee if in his opinion the discussion shall have shown that the amendment violates the provision of the rule. That's one. But then the most important one is 5. When every clause and schedule and proposed new clauses or schedule has been dealt with, the preamble, if there be one, shall be considered and the question put that this preamble has amended the preamble to the bill, provided that no amendment to the preamble shall be considered which is not made necessary by a previous amendment to the bill. 6. If any amendment be necessary to the title of the bill, it shall be made at the beginning of the proceeding detailed above, but no question shall be put that the title or that the title as amended is not part of the bill. So if you look at the provision of this one, we can change the title of the bill. I think that we can change it during the clause by clause consideration and taking it even as the first one.
That was what exactly I said. Oh, okay, thank you very much. Your point of order is fully and completely sustained. Any other comments? Leader of the Senate, Committee of the Whole.
Mr. President, I write a motion that the Senate resolves into the Committee of the Whole to consider these 2 reports. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second that the Senate do resolve to the Committee of the Whole to consider these 2 reports. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, okay. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do resolve into Committee of the Whole to consider the 2 reports, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. It's okay now. We start with the bill for the establishment of the Federal Capital Territory University of Science and Technology, Abaji. Those in favor that clause 1, clause 2, clause 3, no, we are not at the long title yet. The long title is the last this thing. Okay, clause 1.
To remove the Science and Technology and to just read Federal Capital Territory University, Abaji. The FCT University, Abaji.
Senator Sabi Aliu Abdullah.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Aliu Sabi Abdullahi, Niger North. I second the amendment as moved by distinguished Senator Philip Aduda that the name be changed to FCT University, Abaji. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that clause 1 as amended remains part of the bill, say aye. Those against any direction. Clause 2, sorry? Which clause? Which clause?
Wherever this thing appears, what you repeated,
Okay, mutatis mutandis. Okay, Secretary, take note. Wherever the FCT University of Science and Technology, Abaji, appears, it should be amended to FCT University, Abaji. Those who are clause 2, clause 3, clause 4, clause 5, clause 6, clause 7, clause 8, clause 9, clause 10, stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 11, those who are at clause 11, clause 12, clause 13, clause 14, clause 15, clause 16, clause 17, clause 18, clause 19, and clause 20 on page 23. Stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at clause 21 on page 23, retiring age of academic staff, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the interpretation stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the short title on page 32 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the schedules 1, 2, and 3 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the explanatory memorandum on page 60 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those who are at the long title as amended stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. The second report. Federal University of Environmental Technology, Koroma, Sakpewa, Tai Ogoni, River State, Exemption Bill. Those who are at clause 1, clause 2, clause 3, clause 4, clause 5, clause 6, clause 7, clause 8, clause 9, and clause 10 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Those who are at the Clause 11, transfer of property on page 12, Clause 12, Clause 13, Clause 14, Clause 15, Clause 16, Clause 17, Clause 18, Clause 19, Clause 20, stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at Clause 21, Clause 22, Clause 23, Clause 24, Clause 25, Clause 26, Clause 27, Clause 28, Clause 29, stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the interpretation on page 28, stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the short title, stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the schedule 1, 2, and 3, stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the explanatory memorandum on page 57, stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those who are at the long title, stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, I rise to move that the chair reports progress. I so move.
The minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise to second the motion that the Senate do revert to plenary to report, for the chair to report progress. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those who are at the Senate reverts to plenary for the chair to report progress say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate, in the Committee of the Whole, considered the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the FCT. No, you're supposed to correct this. The Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the FCT University Abaji Establishment Bill 2022 and approved as follows. Long title as amended, Clause 1 as amended, Clause 2 to 30 as recommended, interpretation as recommended, short title as recommended, Schedules 1, 2, and 3 as recommended, explanatory memorandum as amended. Did we amend the explanatory memorandum? Did we? Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? The Senate in the Committee of the Whole also considered the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the Federal University of Environmental Technology, Koroma, Sakpewa, Tailo, Ogoni, River State Establishment Bill 2022 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended, Clause 1 to 29 as recommended, interpretation as recommended, short title as recommended, Schedules 1, 2, and 3 as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I rise to move that these two bills be read the third time. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion heavily moved by the leader. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that these two bills be now read the third time, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the FCT University Abaji and for other matters connected therewith, 2022, third reading. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Environment Technology, Koroma, Shakinfua, Tai, Ogoni, River State, and for other matters connected therewith, 2022, third reading.
A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal Capital Territory FCT University, Abaji, and for other matters connected therewith, 2022 third reading taken, and the bill is passed. A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Federal University of Environmental Technology, Koroma, Saktewa, Tai, Ogoni, River State, and for other matters connected there with 2022 third reading taken, and the bill is also passed. Congratulations. Leader of the Senate.
The President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues.
Order.
The sixth order of the day is a motion standing in the name of distinguished Senator George Sekibo and 7 others on curbing suits particulate droppings, health hazards concern, and economic sabotage by illegal refining of crude products in River State. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the distinguished Senator George Something Sekibo to move this motion.
Distinguished Senator George Thompson Sekibo, CON-JP.
I thought you would not put the titles, those are honors. Mr. President of the Senate, my very distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator George Thompson Sekibo. I represent the Rivers East Central District. Mr. President, the motion on curbing soot particulate droppings, health hazard concern, and economic sabotage by illegal refining of crude products in River State. It is co-sponsored by other 7 senators, and now including Senator Gashon Bassi, whose name was not definitely omitted in among the names. Mr. President and my colleagues, permit me to move the motion. The Senate notes that the droppings of unidentified sooty particulate in River States, which are suspected to be after effect of incomplete crude refining process, has taken a more dangerous dimension. Aware that oil and gas exploration and exploitation activities started in River State and its environs since the discovery of hydrocarbons in the Niger Delta region in 1957. Aware also that the environment, including land, water, and air, has already been grievously polluted through the activities of the multinational companies. Aware further that an environmental audit due to the degradation of the environment has never been carried out since the commencement of the exploration and exploration activities in the area, which has lasted for over 60 years, meaning that the contaminated environment remains without the hope of remediation. Worried that the sooty particulate substances dropping in the state is becoming too visible that one cannot stay outdoors without receiving drops of them on his body. It has become more worrisome that they are seen on bedspreads in bedrooms, worktops in kitchens, chairs and other materials in houses, meaning that they are entering through every available crevice into inner spaces of buildings as the wind carries them. concerned that residents in River State have noticed lots of these sooty particulates settling in their nasal tracts, which has occasioned cleaning of their nostril several times in the day. Concerned further that the amount of these particulates being inhaled daily by Nigerians resident in the state cannot be estimated, just as the after effects of their inhalation have not been determined. Disturbed that the sooty particulates are dropping on water bodies, farmland, and whatever is left open under the sky, which is detrimental to human health, as residents in the area are exposed to consumption of harvest from both the sea and the land, as well as drinking rainwater and water from streams and rivers. Mr. President, the Senate is further worried that these particulates, which are suspected to be byproduct of hydrocarbons or crude oil that did not go through proper refining process in complete combustion, may contain some chemicals that can prove health hazard to the people. Knows that air pollution has no boundary or limit within which it could be contained, as means of containment of air pollution has not been discovered. Therefore, the possibility of this sooty particulate spreading to other neighboring states and indeed the entire nation cannot be overemphasized. Mr. President, the Senate observed that recent outbreak of difficulty in breathing caused by congestion of nasal tracts of many residents in River State could be linked to this epidemic. Observes further that this may also be the cause of recent causes of death with traceable ailment in many towns in River State. Knows further that it could become a national emergency if not handled. Mr. President, note further that it could become a national emergency if not handled appropriately from its roots. Hence, the urgent need to curb the causes of the occurrences, avoid their likely side effects on human beings and environment, as is teach in time 6-9. Informed that pockets of illegal crude refining were recently discovered all over River State, who use all sorts of methods to refine crude for local consumption. These activities have increased pollution in the already polluted environment. Further informed that the crude being used to refine petroleum products in these illegal activities is through crude pilfering, causing colossal national waste and economic sabotage. Believes that some security agents posted to secure these national assets have turned themselves to partners in this thoroughly illegal act, thus giving the criminals impetus to openly commit these national economic crimes. Understand that Rivers State government has taken a bold step to fish out these criminals for prosecution, as well as destroy such illegal substandard refineries with a view to stopping these illegal activities and crimes. Aware that the issue of clean environment is one of the fundamental objectives and derivative principle of state policy of the Nigerian state as provided in Section 20 of 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, which states entirely that the state shall protect and improve the environment and safeguard the water, air and land, forest and wildlife of Nigeria. The Senate is also aware that the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended within the context of the social order in Section 17(2)(d) has admonished that exploitation of natural resources to the detriment of the citizen shall be prevented as shown below. Exploitation of human or natural resources in any form whatsoever for reasons other than the good of the community shall be prevented. The Senate recalls that in order to forestall this type of emergency or occurrence and other hazardous pollution that may occasion due to the oil and gas exploration activities, the federal government set up the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSDRA, in 2006, with the following three cardinal objectives, among others as provided in Section 5A, B, and C in its enabling act. 5. The objective of the agency shall be to coordinate and implement the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan for Nigeria, in this article referred to as the plan. A. Safe, timely, effective and appropriate response to major or disastrous oil pollution. B. Identify high-risk area as well as priorities areas for protection and cleanup. C. Establish the mechanism to monitor and assist, or where expedient, direct the response, including the capability to mobilize the necessary resources to save lives, protect threatened environment, and clean up the best practical extent of the impacted site. The Senate recalls also that as provided in Section 6 of the Establishing Act, NOSRA is also saddled with the responsibility of carrying out surveillance, coordinating issues on oil spillage and associated pollution, as well as implementing such plans as will be issued by the federal government. This means that NOSRA, with the huge responsibility of preparedness, detection, and response to oil spillage, pollution due to oil refinery activities in the country, has not lived up to its mandate of the surveillance, monitoring, and has therefore not informed the nation of these occurring national epidemics, while Nigerian citizens are suffocating due to this epidemic. The stop that unduly delay in proffering the necessary solution to eradicate this illegality is drastically affecting the lives of the residents in the River State. This is worse than physical insecurity being combated, as the particulate fumes affect every person without creed or color, ethnicity, or religion, and demands that the security agents who involve themselves in this act of national sabotage be given appropriate sanctions, and other perpetrators be treated as economic saboteurs. Mr. Senate President and my distinguished colleagues, accordingly, the Senate resolved as follows. Urge the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to note that there is an impending environmental danger that is occurring in River State and its environs, orchestrated by miscreants who are engaged in illegal refining as well as looting national crude oil assets. 2. Urge the President to audit security agencies who are saddled with the responsibilities of securing these assets but are involved in this national sabotage, and be sanctioned appropriately by the laws of the country. 3. Urge the President to use his constitutional powers to support the government of River State, who have started to combat these criminal activities and fish out these national economic saboteurs. 4. Direct the Senate Committee on Navy, Police Affairs, Interior, and Army to carry out holistic investigation of these illegal activities with a view to ascertaining the involvement of security agencies collaborating and abetting in this dastardly act, and report within 4 weeks. And 5, and final, further direct its Committee on Environment, Petroleum Upstream, and Primary Health to visit the River State and carry out observatory assessment of the level of damage these activities have caused the environment and the health concern the activities have occasioned, as well as suggest solutions, and report within 4 weeks. Mr. President, I so move. Thank you very much.
Yes, distinguished Senator Uche.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, my colleagues, my name is Senator Uche Lilan. If I come from Anambra State, I represent Anambra Central. First of all, let me commend my distinguished colleague for bringing up this motion. Mr. President, the magnitude of devastation, pollution, and degradation caused by these illegal refineries in River State is huge. I want to commend the governor of River State for fighting very hard to rid the state of these illegal refineries. Mr. President,
The Ministry of Environment, through NOSBRA, should carry out a serious environmental audit to know the number of illegal refineries we have in Rivers State. The pollution in Rivers State has been lingering for too long. I know that in 2007, there was UN report on Ogoni oil spill. And in that report, they stated that it will take 50 years for the pollution in Ogoni land to be cleaned up and for remediation and restoration to take place. 50 years. I don't know the level of implementation of that report up till now. Mr. President, this is high time that Rivers State should think of using the locals to fight this war. This is not a war a stranger can fight. This is a war that the locals, those people who participate in that immediate environment, should cooperate with government to ensure that this menace of illegal refineries should come to a stop. So while commending him, let us go further to ensure that UN report on Ogoni oil spill is being taken care of. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Mpigi Baranada. I represent the people of Rivers Southeast Senatorial District. Mr. President, I am from Rivers State. Mr. President, I stand here to support the mover of this all-economic saving motion. It's economic saving in the sense that if you look at the position of Rivers State today is a mini Nigeria. When the mover moved this motion, everybody seems to listen to him as if he's talking about Rivers State alone. But all 36 states of this federation, their people live in Rivers State. Mr. President, it might interest you to note that the properties in Rivers State, the people that stays in the Rivers State, the children of Nigerians that schools in Rivers State, they are not only Rivers indigenes. When commending the Rivers State government for the proactiveness they've so far taken, alongside with the 23 local government chairmen, Mr. President, my concern in this matter is the security agencies that are posted that are serving in Rivers State. These security agencies that are serving in Rivers State now, they are there not to protect the oil facilities that are within their domain, but rather they are posted to Rivers State for their economic welfare to see how they can protect themselves. Mr. President, there are areas in the state, as we speak here, maybe in Sogu area on the high Atlantic Ocean. The indigenes cannot get into that area to see how we can protect or stop these vandals from these activities. But the military and the other security agencies that stays within that area, they now on a daily toll picks out funds from these oil vandals and these illegal oil refiners that stays within this area. Our concern, Mr. President, should be, just like what the mover has said, to give more concern to the security agencies that they should mind their business, concern themselves about the securities of these oil installations than going there to see how they can welfare their pocket. Mr. President, I so support what the mover has done so far, but the truth is that something else better should be done in Rivers State to see how we can stop this menace, because if it is not stopped, it is not only Rivers indigenes, but the whole Nigerians residing in that place will suffer. Thank you, Mr. President.
Let's go to the prayers, please. Prayer 1. Urge the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to note that there is an impending environmental danger that is occurring in River State and its environs, orchestrated by miscreants who are engaged in illegal refining as well as looting national crude oil assets. Those in favor of Prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have. Prayer 2 urge the President to audit security agencies who are saddled with the responsibility of securing these assets but are involved in this national sabotage and be sanctioned appropriately by the laws of the country. Has that been established? Was anybody caught and confirmed? Then the law should take its course now. Why are you saying we should tell President? The court should prosecute them. Because what you are saying is, those that are involved in this national sabotage, and be sanctioned. If there's nothing like sanction, they should be tried in court. Go to the second leg. No. You are talking about those involved. Huh? So if you say those involved, have we caught anybody? Okay. I just thought we should make it watertight. Then we should ask for prosecution, isn't it? I don't know whether that's what you want. They should be prosecuted. If anybody is arrested, that person should be prosecuted. But I will put the question as it is. Those in favor that's in favor of prayer 2, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Prayer 3 urge the President to use his constitutional powers to support the government of River State, who have started to combat these criminal activities and fish out these national economic saboteurs. Those in favor of prayer 3, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Prayer 4 direct the Senate committees on the Navy, Police Force, Interior, and Army to carry out holistic investigation of these illegal activities with a view to ascertaining the involvement of security agencies collaborating and abetting in these dastardly acts and report within 4 weeks. No, not yet, please. I don't want to be part of the debate. But why are you so particular about security agencies? Why can't we make it a little bit open? Because you need the security agencies to even do your assignment. And if all you are going to do is to investigate them, how do you think they will support you? Huh? Yeah, you can, but if you particularize it, it's going to be tough for you. Okay, please.
Direct the Senate Committee on the Navy, Police Affairs, Interior, and Army to carry out holistic investigation of these illegal activities with a view to ascertaining those who are involved in this dastardly act and report within 4 weeks.
Amendment. Senator Ibrahim Gobir.
Excellency, my name is Senator Ibrahim Gobir. I support the motion heavily carried by the amendment on the
4. All those, no, don't worry. Those in favor of prayer 4 as amended, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Prayer 5 further direct its committees on environment, petroleum upstream, and petroleum and primary health care to visit River State and carry out observatory assessment of the level of damage these activities have caused the environment and the health concern of the activities have occasioned, as well as suggest solution and report within 4 weeks. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Sorry? Okay, additional prayer, Senator Issa Jibril.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I am Issa Jibril, representing Kogi East. Mr. President, my additional prayer goes thus. Call on the federal government to institute pollution tax, which can be scientifically measured, and the proceeds derived therefrom should be used to finance to clean the environment and provide medical cares to the affected communities.
I need a seconder. Senator Bello Mandia.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion as moved by Senator Issa Jibril. Additional prayer as moved by Senator Ibrahim Issa Jibril.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the additional prayer say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Well, Leader of the Senate will stand down the consideration of other items on the order paper. It's very hot.
So, President, I rise to a motion that this Senate steps down the consideration of all other items on our agenda to another legislative day. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion that the Senate I rise to second the motion heavily moved by Senate Leader.
All right, thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that we stand down the consideration of the other items on the order paper till another legislative day say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Leader of the Senate will move for adjournment.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move a motion that this Senate do adjourn until Tuesday, the 8th of March, 2022, at 10 a.m. prompt. I so move.
The Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to second the motion that the Senate do adjourn till Tuesday, the 8th of March, for further legislative action. I so second.
I have some few announcements to make. Conference Committee on Federal Medical Centers Establishment Bill 2021, Senator Ibrahim Yahya Lurogbe, Chairman, Senator Chukwuka Utazi, member, Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, member, Senator Adelere Orio Lowo, member, Senator Sadiq Suleiman Umar, member, Senator Konya Yeki, member, and Senator Bulus K. Amos, member. A letter from Senator Obinna Joseph Ogba, FICA. His Excellency invitation to a church dedication, Thanksgiving service, and wedding anniversary. I most humbly wish to notify and invite you, Your Excellency, and my distinguished colleagues to a church dedication, Thanksgiving service, and my 35 years wedding anniversary. Your Excellency, the events is scheduled to hold as follows: date, Saturday, 12th March, 2022. Venue, All Saints Catholic Church, Amuvu, Nkalagu, Ebonyi State. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Your Excellency, it will be a great honor and rare privilege to host you and my distinguished colleagues once more in my country home. As always, please accept the assurances of my esteemed regards. Yours sincerely, Senator Obinna Ogba, Chairman, Senate Committee on Youth and Sports. Distinguished colleagues, a new appointment, the Senator Hassan Lawali Anka, representing Zamfara West, is the new Chairman, Committee on Ecology and Climate Change. With this, those in favor of the motion moved by the leader and seconded by the Minority Leader, the Senate do adjourn till Tuesday, 8th day of March 2022 at 10 a.m. from say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. The Senate is hereby adjourned till Tuesday, 8th day of March 2022 at 10 a.m. from. Thank you.